What can a Century 21 agent do for you? They explain the market, love a good barbie and never drink milk from the carton. They do your homework, your legwork and sometimes yard work. So invite one over. Century 21 agents. Smarter, bolder, faster.
Welcome back to Your Property Empire. Joining me on the show tonight is Anthony Bell, CEO of Bell Partners Accountants, and we've just been joined by Charles Tarbey, Chairman and owner of Century 21 Australasia. Good to see you, Charles.
Thank you.
Anyway, now it's time for Purchase or Pass. In our Purchase or Pass segment this week, I thought we'd take a look at the dangers of buying a property over the internet without actually going to see it. So this week we've got a 2-bed, 1-bath unit with lock-up garage, just 3.3 kilometres from the heart of the CBD and less than 200 metres to foreshore parkland and renowned waterfront restaurants. Set at the top of the building, it's got a sweeping harbour view and a sunny northwest facing balcony. Whilst the property presents as clean and tidy, there's an opportunity to completely revamp with a renovation. Now, the property sold recently for $915,000 and estimated rent was around $680 a week. So, both of you guys to start with, I mean, this feels like a pretty good property, doesn't it?
I like it. I think, like I said, all the things about its proximity to the CBD, the opportunity to renovate is really good. The rent return on the value of the investment is a bit of a problem for me. It's $680 odd on 915.
So I think it's about 3.8 or 3.9% or something like that.
It's not a major issue because capital growth is what you're there for. But you know, when I see it like that, I start to go, why isn't the rent that it's obtaining equal to the value in the marketplace?
Now, this was the picture, or we just lost it, but it'll come back in the rounds. That was the thing that they really didn't tell you. So we had one of our guys go to see it, and the garages were really, really tiny. And one of the garages, everyone parks in front of the garages because they can't park inside. And so for this particular unit, you couldn't even get your car around the other cars to then go and park outside.
So it was built in the 50s or the 60s because regulation probably came in after that. So if we're looking at a narrow access way, that's a real problem, particularly if there's going to be a high traffic area and proximity to CBD. It probably means that there's not going to be tons of street parking.
Yeah, so I looked up on Sydney City website, and this garage space was 2.2 wide by 5.9. So a 30-metre garage is okay-ish, but it's the 2.2. So they said that 2.3 should be the minimum, and only 5 or 10% of garages should be that small in a complex. Yeah. And this one's even smaller.
Well, part of buying a property at that price is having access to a garage or somewhere to park your car. That's a very big feature of that. And if you say it has city views, I just caught a glimpse of the photograph then. So it looks like it's Darling Harbour type area or Piermont area.
Yeah,
looking through
that kind of area, Glebe type thing.
That's a top price. It's up the top there at $915. That's for me, it's right at the top. And if I can't get my car in there, I'd be a bit concerned about it.
And the concept that I wanted to kind of discuss is there's so many people and maybe so many of these seminars that say you can do all your due diligence online and you can see all these videos and the rest of it, but this is the kind of stuff. Now, the size was actually on the strata plan or on the floor plan, which is good, but not everyone is. So you're going to say, well, this has got a garage, and you assume you can park your car in the garage.
Look, clever photography nowadays will tell you when you go to open for inspections never to expect what you see on the internet, never to expect it. It's always going to be different. So if somebody's buying an established property off the plan, they're going to take some risks, in my view.
I think the headline items too, Charles, are an issue because people say it's got a garage, it's got 2 bedrooms, I'm already in the group of what I might be buying, so they make the presumption that the garage is a fit and then get somewhat disappointed later on.
And again, the bedroom size is another classic thing because what is a double bedroom?
Yeah.
Because I had a property in the UK and it wasn't a single bed, a 6x3, but we got a 6x2.5 bed because you couldn't fit a 6x3 in there. Yeah, but is that a single bedroom or is that... It's a grey area, isn't it?
It's just another thing. You've got to turn up and see it. I mean, you've got to get your Saturday mornings free.
I think that's what's kept us alive as an industry to some degree, Anthony, is that you still have to get out and look at the product. A lot of people bought off the plan, sight unseen, but it's very rare, and it's certainly not something I would ever recommend to anybody who asked me how they should buy a property. I would always say inspect, because it's inspecting the entire area around that property too, which gives you a very strong indication as to what's going on. It's not just looking at that property itself.
Because there was a property property on, I think, Channel 7 that was on the media before, where suddenly there was one photo a few years ago with a property with a water tower,
I saw that,
and there's a photo now, and it disappeared, but it was still physically there.
Art of photography.
Exactly.
And like I said, when you look at those sorts of things, it's just, again, I'm with Charles 1,000%. It means you must turn up, touch the walls, feel the place, walk around the neighbourhood a little bit to get a real gauge for what you're either going to be investing in or what you're going to be living in.
So would you purchase over an internet, not just this particular property, but any property?
Look, I never would unless it was some sort of steal and I was able to send somebody across to check it out for me. So the short answer is no, and on that basis, even if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is, so it earns a pass for me.
Unless you're trying to shift some money across real quick into the country and get it from somewhere else you don't really care. No, I wouldn't. I'd have to have a look. I'd have to have a look.
Two passes. And look, I think it's a very dangerous buying sight unseen, and this is a classic case. I'm not keen on buying investment properties without parking, and effectively this one doesn't, so I'm going to pass as well. Well, Charles, you're here for the numbers. Tell us about the auction clearance rates.
A big decline over this time last year, so 66.4% clearance rate for the week just gone. Last year it was 77.2% the same time around. So it's a fairly massive decline, but when you're talking about the areas, Sydney is still performing well. It came in at a clearance rate of 72%, Melbourne at 70.5%. But the big winner this week, again, Canberra, 75% clearance rate. So we've been watching that marketplace move a lot better than most for a while now.
See people confident on the budget, maybe, Anthony?
Well, yeah, like I said, Canberra is one of those hidden epicentres in Australia. People presume because it's landlocked and that you know, it's not one of the state capital centres. It's just a national centre. But they feel that the Canberra market doesn't move that much. Employment's good down there. There's a fair bit of industry. It's not all government servants that are working down there, or public servants rather. There's a big dairy industry. There's a big farm.
When Labor came in, the number of public servants increased significantly. Yep. When the election started, the process started, it looked like Labor might lose a lot of people sold. So it's really interesting to watch what happens, and it is very strongly connected to federal elections.
So jumping on to homes advertised for sale.
Yeah, well, you're going to love this, Chris. We had a decline last week, both in Australia and New Zealand. This week we've had a massive climb of 10.54% of stock.
10%?
Over this time last week, it increased by 10.54%.
Are they jumping in before Easter?
I don't know. Well, you know, we thought that might be the case, but the Easter weekend's too close for that to occur if you're talking about auctions in any case. The New Zealand market went on decline as well, but it had a massive climb over this time last week of 7.1%. So both markets, Australia and New Zealand, have had a massive climb. If that continues, then we will see a more balanced marketplace out there. You talk about the higher end, there's still a big supply issue there, and that's why that top end is definitely performing better.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. Maybe another week as well.
Never know.
Say our prayers. Residential rents.
Yes, they declined over this time last week from an average right across the country of 0.47%, but still up 0.96% from the start of the year. Best performer, Tasmania, 0.6%, followed by Sydney at 0.28% and South Australia at 0.27%. We had Northern Territory go backwards substantially in this last week.
So we're trying to mention everyone we can.
We are, yes. I'm trying to get them all in because they get upset. You know
exactly. And then finally the vacancy rates.
1.57% in Sydney itself. In Melbourne, 3.7%. And across in Perth, great Perth levelling, 5.88%. So it gave us an average across those three capital cities of 3.72%. You can add those three together and divide it by 3. And tell me if I'm wrong, because everybody questions me all the time. But nonetheless...
your memory of your numbers is just...
I reckon we should get you to audit one day. Is one day send the numbers to Anthony.
I have won a few bottles. I have won a few bottles of wine off my mates at Macquarie Bank having a bet with me on figures at some stage. But that's about... I know how to lose numbers too, so don't worry.
If you ever got real estate, maybe become an accountant.
Yeah, maybe. If I had the personality.
Or lack thereof.
Sorry.
On that note, we better close it. Charles Tarbey, Century 21, Anthony Bell from Bell Partners. Good to see you guys.
Good night.
Thanks for joining us as well. We'll be back next week. Until then, I'm Chris Gray. Good night.
The information featured in this program is general in nature and therefore should not be relied upon. Guests appearing on the program may have commercial arrangements with some of the companies mentioned. Before making any investment, insurance or financial planning decisions, you should consult a licensed professional who can advise whether your decision is appropriate for you.